Y'all, this is my jam. This is the type of, it's a different type of Japanese jazz music that I ended up finding. And I mean, I love the beats. It's so nice. I decided to start the video off with some little bit of nice little jams. Has a nice little beat to it. Okay, come on now. I want the people to hear it. All right, am I turning it down? Come on, Faye. I be in here catching the vibe sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down. Okay, welcome back to my channel, YouTube family. Welcome to Faye's Lock Life. On my channel, I talk about locks, wellness, and some entertainment. However, in this video, it is more of a serious topic actually, but I wanted to get myself in a good vibe, so I decided to play a little nice music that I enjoy to kind of mellow out the topic. So if you're new, before I get into this, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you would consider joining my lock family. And if you are one of my subscribers, welcome back. You know, I always appreciate having you guys come back to watch another video. But they usually say you don't usually make it into this algorithm until you get that challenging commenter. So yay, I guess I have actually gotten there because I have finally gotten my first challenging comment from a commenter. Now, at first I decided, well, you know what? I'm not even going to respond to it, you know, because basically when I saw the comment and when I saw the long comment she wrote, and then when I read what she wrote, I was like, you know what? That's her opinion. Those are her assumptions or whatever. So whatever, I just like erased it and whatever and just kept it moving. She left a message about a week and a half ago. I'm not going to say her name because this is not about like a tit or for tat or anything like that. It's not going to be no, bossing up on each other type of deal. That's not how it's going to go. But I just thought that when someone, if they decide that they want to put something out based on what they saw, they have a right to do so. They have a right to their opinions, but I also have a right to tell my story and clear up my side of things, because what she was saying was definitely couldn't be any further from the truth because it actually had nothing to do with what the video was actually about. But anyways, this was regarding, and you guys, if you haven't had an opportunity to go look at the video, go take a look at the video. It is my tea time video when I discuss my experience in the Sister Lock class. You'll see it in my photo. I have the teacup up. It's tea time. Okay. I wish I was so savvy where I could be like, click here for that video, down here for this, and I swear one of these days I'm gonna get there. It would be so much nicer if I was able to do that, but in due time. But anyways, this commenter, and actually it was like two commenters, but the first one, her question, her statement was kind of fair, but we'll get to her later because like I said, it was like pretty fair. But it was this particular woman, I don't know if she's a teenager, a woman, whatever. I don't know her. I just know that she's a commenter, right? So she decided to let me know how she felt about what I said in that video. Okay. So in that video, I talked about the Sister Lock class. I talked about my experience in the Sister Lock class and the experience that I had with the instructor in the Sister Lock class. But disclaimer, I actually really want to make this disclaimer. I have no problem whatsoever with the Sisterlock brand. This has nothing at all to do with the Sisterlock brand. In fact, I love my Sisterlocks. That's why I'm still wearing my Sisterlocks. I am very truly thankful to Mrs. Cromwell for what she has discovered for Black women. It has done so much for our self-esteem. It dissolved the lie that Black women's hair couldn't grow. I mean, it was just, I mean, this is not just a hairstyle. Like, it really did a whole lot more for Black women that went really, really deep within us. And just for that alone, I respect the Sisterlock brand just for that. I am not saying that anyone who takes a Sisterlock class will have the same experience that I had, because that's ludicrous. Sisterlocks are in all states. Like, as far as I know, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she may be in all of the states. I'm not sure, but I know she's in quite a few states. And then there's several instructors that are teaching the class. So no two people are going to have the same experience. But the one thing that I will say is that I do have the right to tell my story about what happened to me. And at the end of the day, the Sisterlocks is a business. It is a business that is, while it's done so much for us, but it's still providing a service to us. Sisterlock is a business that is providing a service. So when I saw her email and saw how long it was, I really was kind of like, okay, like, what would she have to say to me regarding this video that is that long? Because, I mean, she wrote a diatribe. Like, it was a long email that she wrote. So I was like, okay, let me read what this person's saying. So she started off in agreement, saying that she agrees in big, bold letters that Sisterlocks does have its issues, and that in terms of, I guess, like the organization of certain things, I mean, and I can also see that too, because Sisterlocks has grown so astronomically that no business, no matter what you're doing, in my opinion, is going to be a smooth sailing ship once it expands so far out and so many different people are involved with it, right? So she talked about how she agreed with that part and how that she understands where I was coming from there. But however, she found some of my statements to be problematic. And then she went on to say, I really wish to God that I did not erase what she said, because I really wanted to just read what she wrote verbatim. But from what I can remember her saying was, she had an issue with me. I mentioned in the video that the instructor she was a mixed woman. And we'll talk about what I feel like she had a problem with that. But I mentioned that she was a mixed woman. And then I mentioned the things that I didn't like how the class went. Okay, so, and that included like feeling like there was favoritism in the class, feeling like, being upset with the fact that our class was only 3 days long and we didn't have all of our materials on time. We didn't have our books on time, therefore, which led to us not being able to practice enough, and there were a time where there was a request that I made of the teacher, and she actually told me no. We'll talk about that point. And then also, I'll talk about, let's see what else ended up going on. Okay, so, all right, let me just start like this. When we first went to the class, right, we went, this is our first day. It was held at a hotel in Boston, when I was located in Boston. So we go into class and we finally meet the instructor. Now, when we met the instructor, this wasn't just me, in my opinion, but when we all saw her standing up in front, she just wasn't what we were expecting to be standing in front of the sister art class. She just didn't, it was more of a thing, but it wasn't like a thing where it was like, oh, it was more like a thing where if you like, so say like this, who can I think of a singer that I used to like so much, and it can happen in so many different kind of forms. Like, stay with me, I'm making a point. Like Rick James, and it was what was her name? Rick James, and I cannot believe I just had her name. I cannot believe I'm Rick James, and the girl that he used to sing with, the one that sang Fire and Desire, Rick James, and I'm gonna remember her name. But when I finally saw her, saw her, because I was like, oh my God, I'm going out to get her album. Oh my God, she sounds so good, all that kind of stuff. When I finally saw her, I was surprised at how she looked, because I did not think that she would look that way, because at that time you didn't see singers that sang so soulfully like that. That was like, I don't know if she was Portuguese or white or what she was. I cannot believe, this is driving me crazy. I cannot believe I am forgetting her name. Tina Marie. Duh. Tina Marie. So it was more of like a surprise like that. Like, oh wow, she was like, this mixed mulatto woman with this, she just didn't look the part, basically. So when I had made the statement, I think she was going upon the point at the video when I started making a statement, and I said, when I went into class, I had started talking about the things that I didn't appreciate about the class. I said she was a mixed woman, and I was like, but also I'll give her this point. When I said that, I listened back to how that sounded in my own head and was like, Faye, you know what? If you just keep it and say it like that, they're going to think that you are saying that for whatever reason, because she's mixed, she's not qualified to teach this class. So I said, as soon as I said that, I was like, okay, no, I mean, it doesn't mean just because she's mixed that she can't do this class. But I guess I was just kind of looking for a more authentic type of, experience or whatever. But even saying I was looking for a more authentic experience, and even what I was saying, that just wasn't even what I meant. It had nothing to do with the fact of just being surprised that initially that she looked the way she looked. It had nothing to do going forward with her being a mixed woman, because what she was trying to say was that some of her gripe was that I'm pitting Black women against each other. Why would I do that on such a big platform like YouTube? There's already enough people out here bashing us and tearing us down, and here I am on here promoting I don't know, I can't remember if she said hate. If she didn't say that, excuse me if you didn't say hate, but I know that she was saying that I was, pitting Black women against each other. How could I do such a thing? And da-da-da. And then she just, it was just a really long thing that she went into, but it was kind of one of those type of statements where it's like, you're like, you can't be talking to me, really. You really can't, because what she was saying was as if it was misplaced, because it was like as if maybe she had gone through things in her life with the thing against Black women or this and that and all that other kind of stuff, and she just happened to come across my video and heard that. And I think in her mind, because when I read her name, her last name was definitely not, I don't know if she's a mixed person or if she's married to a white guy or whatever it is. I don't know about that, but I just know based on what her name is, it seems as though she herself could be a mixed person. And I think she was kind of she took more from that video than what I even actually meant, because the only thing I cared about was getting what I paid for. So it had nothing. I am not even that type of Black woman. I would never get on here and try to pit a black woman against another black woman. I don't care who it is. I wouldn't have cared if this woman wasn't mixed, if she was mixed, or if she was green. It didn't matter to me. The only thing that I was concerned about was the fact that I paid over $1,200 for a class that was only going to be 3 days long. And based on what was going on in that class, I realized that I was going to leave out that class not getting what I paid for. So if you do go look at that video, you could probably sense the kind of annoyance and how I was saying it, but it was just based on the fact that we weren't getting what we paid for. So the truth of the matter is that sometimes people will have, let's say, they'll hear what they want to hear. Because after I spoke on what I said, I definitely backed it up by saying, you know, just because she mixed doesn't mean that she couldn't teach the class. But, you know, I just was hoping for a more authentic experience. Like, even me saying authentic experience, I didn't even really mean anything about that. But if it had came out, nobody, even we had went to lunch one day, right? And it was the first day that we went to lunch. And then everybody was just being like, wow, did you see the instructor? Wow, I didn't expect her to look like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was just more of a thing where, I mean, okay, so let's just take a moment and be real honest here, black culture. Let's just be real honest. And this has nothing to do with, and please don't make this more than what it is, because it is so not like that. And to be honest with you, I won't even respond to anything that is trying to bring any type of drama or confusion or anything like that, because I think that this person was just like reacting emotionally, and she just took it way further than what it was, because no one else even took it like that. It's just like if a person was to buy a car and you're trying to drive this car, you paying your money for this car, you want a car that's working, you want a car that you can get in it, is fully functional, and you can drive off that lot and do what you have to do. If the car had one wheel, it wasn't finished by, you weren't prepared to drive that car, then there's a problem, right? So basically, what I'm saying is, we went out, we said that little thing, but it wasn't even about, it was just a thing of recognizing that, oh, she just didn't look how we thought she would look. And then we went on and kind of figured like, okay, later on in the class, she may end up, you know, telling her story. Like, it was more of an interest of like, wow, how did she get here? Like, how did she actually come to being a Sisterlock instructor? Like, you know what I mean? And she went on to say the stuff that kind of led her there. But her kids, one day her kids showed up. She said, oh, you guys, you know, one day my kids are going to come by. My mom's going to drop them by, because something, I forget what it was that the mom needed to stop by for, but she brought her kids along with her. So she brought the kids in class. We saw the kids, everything. And then the teacher herself more was like, yeah, well, you know, you see, my kids are mulatto, they're mixed, you know, my husband's white, I'm married to a white guy, you know, she actually just started like kind of offering up and mentioning that, like, nobody cared about that. No, I mean, we didn't care nothing about that. And then she herself had started to say, like, you know, and she confirmed just what everybody was thinking anyways, because she said, you know, when we had got to a portion about a class talking about when you do consultations. So we was asking her questions about, okay, so when you do consultations, do you charge? Do you not charge? So we was just asking different questions. And she was like, well, you know, I do my consultations. I charge about my consultations. And, you know, when people come in, they usually look at me like, who's this half white girl trying to talk about some Sisterlock? She said, oh no, you know, just in case or whatever. I get that all the time. I get that. People don't believe that I know what I can do. I have to prove it to everybody. I have to this, I have to that, right? Again, this was something that she was offering up herself. She was telling us that. You know what I mean? That, to be honest with you, we had, like I said, that just kind of went past me. I was just still concerned about getting what I needed to get out of that class. And I have the right to tell a story, to tell an experience that I had. And based on my experience in the class, I definitely don't feel like I got what I paid for. During the class, it is true, my experience, she was doing favoritism. I do not know, for whatever reason, the people that was in the front of the class, it was like I said, it might have been like 10 or 11 pupils in the class. There was some in the front, maybe about 5 of them was in the front of her. There might have been like 3 or whatever. In the middle, me, this other girl on the side, and there was one woman, an older woman on like the left side of us. She was sitting back by herself. Now, throughout the theory that she was giving us, she was asking she had us participate in reading. But most of the people that she called on were the people that were in front of us. And then there was a girl that was in front of us. It was like another girl that was in front of us. Now, that particular girl that stood in front of us, it was another black girl. And she happened to be from the same place that the instructor was from. But I noticed that once she had told the instructor that she was from where she was from, I noticed that she started, giving her more attention, coming by personal attention when she needed help or whatever questions she had. And the people that was further towards the back, which was me, the other girl, and then the lady, she seriously was just like kind of ignoring. She was just like kind of like, it was like kind of like that whole invisible thing, like, and you're raising, and then and so I was like, you know what, let me test this. Let me raise my hand just to make sure, like whatever. And then there was times where she just like overlooked it and like, you, but it was like all these people. And then there was a lady, but it got to a point where I just kind of made it evident and just kind of made her participate with me. But then there was an older lady here on the left-hand side that altogether, it was kind of like, she just like never called on her for anything. And it was kind of like a type of thing where you can tell that the older lady might not have been as advanced as most of the people in the class, meaning like maybe on her reading or whatever, this and that. And it was just so evident how she just completely never called on her for anything that had anything to do with reading, anything that would challenge in any type of way. And it was obvious. You could tell the lady was like a little bit embarrassed. And that, listen, to me, I am not going to sit and just not say because of what somebody might think of what I'm saying if it's true. I wasn't in that video trying to, like, I don't feel like I was saying anything in that video that made it seem like I was like going against her. I am just giving an experience about what happened in my class, just me. It was just about me and the experience that I had in that class. That is as simple as that. That is all it was about. I could care less the nationality or whatever that the instructor was. It meant nothing to me about that. I had a gripe about that, but she chose to, point out the fact that you're going against each other. You didn't have to do that. I do have the right to do it on here, just like you have the right to come on here and leave your comment. I have the right to tell what happened to me in my class if I choose to. And that's all that is. There was a second girl that said, oh, just because she was mixed don't mean she couldn't do the class. And I was like, no, you're right. That is true. And I said that in the video. Just because she was mixed doesn't mean that she wasn't qualified to do the class. But at the end of the class, basically, based on what she was saying was, she was in it to, when we asked her, have you ever thought, because people were curious, like, I mean, have you ever thought about getting sister locks in your hair? She's like, oh no, 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 girl, can't y'all see my hair? I got that. My hair is curly. I mean, it wasn't even last in my hair. So now I know I've never put them in my hair. Like, and then we were like, oh, okay. But my thing is it is true that if you have hair that is like her hair, if it's curly, if it's soft, it will take a longer time for your hair to lock because of the texture. And it really is based on the texture of your hair. Some hairs lock a whole lot better or quicker than other people's hairs. But if you do have curly hair and you want it locked, you can still get locks, because even Caucasians get locks in their hair if they wanted to. Now, does that mean she had to have locks to teach sister locks? No, she doesn't. That's her personal preference. We just asked the question, she answered it. So that was that too. But, her stating that she can't get locks, it wasn't true, because she actually could if she had wanted to. But for her having a preference that she didn't want locks, that is fine as well. And she was also she was in it because of how much money she could make. And there's nothing wrong with that either, because we were there to learn so that we could also learn how to make money as well. Just the same thing with Dr. Cromwell creating the whole sister lock things. She created it and it brought her wealth. She is a millionaire now from creating, multi-millionaire from creating sister lock. So there is nothing wrong with her, but the thing what I'm looking at is that, her as an instructor, she was going to get paid fully for her work and the time she spent 3 days at the hotel, whether we got what we got or not. Now, the one thing that I felt like that I wish I would have done, what I didn't was, I wish that I would have had called, okay, no, so before we go there, now this is the kicker. Now, and I'm telling you, and this is absolutely true, I already know that this would have happened hadn't I said anything to this instructor. I realized, like, okay, if you sit here and you don't say anything, you guys are gonna end up going past these 3 days, and you're not gonna get the kind of attention that you really need, because there were questions that I literally just didn't understand, and we weren't in the back, we just weren't getting the opportunity to get our questions answered, right? So there was a point where she was doing hair analyzing, where she was taking strands of certain of our hair and analyzing that hair and breaking it down for us, because in class, when you're doing theory, you're going to break down the different textures of hair. You're going to talk about which hairs are best to lock, how long certain other things are going to lock, all this kind of stuff. So she picked a few certain people around me to do it. She picked a girl next to me. She took another girl, But I had asked her, I was like, oh shoot, yeah, this would be a good opportunity for me to get my strand analyzed, because I wanted to know so I can be able to better deal with my hair, or know what works well for my hair as well. So I asked her, oh, could you just analyze mine real quick? Because it was just simply she setting the person down, taking a strand of your hair, and then analyzing it. She straight out said no. And then I was like, what? Like, I kind of was like, huh? Like, she was like, no. And I was like, are you serious? And then she was all like, yeah, I'm serious. No, I can't do it. I can't. No, I can't do it. And I'm like, why not? And then she's just all like, oh, because, we got things to do. I'm like, but we're in the portion of the class that's analyzing hair. Like, why can't you? She flat out, like, point blank period. And to be honest, I was kind of like, damn, like, embarrassed, like, because she seriously, like, in front of the whole class, in front of everybody, just straight up was like, no, and da-da-da. Now, I don't know what that was about. I